Kelvin still remembered the evening clearly. The golden light, the quiet rustling of leaves, and the weight of a decision far bigger than his small frame could carry. He had just finished primary school. His father sat outside their house, leaning back on an old wooden chair, wiping sweat from his forehead after a long day's work. Kelvin stood in front of him, fidgeting, rehearsing the words in his head. "Dad," he finally said. His father looked up. Kelvin swallowed. "After secondary school, I want to become a Reverend Father." The words hung in the air like something fragile. His father didn't respond immediately. He studied Kelvin, his eyes, his posture, the seriousness in his voice. Being the first son, there were expectations, responsibilities, unspoken hopes. Finally, he sighed. "You are my first son," he said slowly. "I thought you would follow another path." But he paused, then nodded. "Go to boarding school first. If this dream is still alive when you finish, I will not stop you." Kelvin felt something shift inside him. Not relief, not fear, something in between. That was the beginning. Boarding school was nothing like home. The noise, the competition, the constant pressure. But Kelvin adapted quickly. He wasn't just good, he was exceptional, especially in mathematics. Numbers came to him like a second language. While others struggled to understand formulas, Kelvin saw patterns, shortcuts, beauty. It was the one place where everything made sense. But he kept it quiet. He didn't boast, didn't show off, didn't let anyone fully understand just how much he loved it. It was his secret. Sometimes when he was angry, really angry, his classmates noticed something strange. A difficult math problem would calm him down instantly. One afternoon, after a heated argument with a boy in his class, Kelvin sat stiffly at his desk, jaw tight, fists clenched. The teacher, unaware of the tension, wrote a complex equation on the board. "Who can solve this?" The class went silent. Kelvin stood up without a word. He walked to the board, still visibly upset. But as his eyes scanned the numbers, something changed. His breathing slowed. His mind sharpened. Within seconds, he solved it. Perfectly. When he dropped the chalk, the anger was gone. Just like that. By the time Kelvin reached junior secondary school 3, he had built a reputation. Not loud, not popular, but respected. Then Kate arrived. She was new, confident, observant. The kind of person who noticed what others ignored, and she noticed Kelvin. It started simply. One afternoon, as students packed their bags, she walked up to him. "You're good at maths," she said, a slight smile playing on her lips. "Can you teach me?" Kelvin hesitated. He wasn't used to people entering his space so easily. "I don't usually—" "Please," she interrupted gently. Something in her tone made it hard to refuse. "Okay," he said. That was how it began. Days turned into weeks. What started as simple lessons became routine. Almost every day, Kate would sit beside him after class, notebook open, eyes fixed on him, not just listening, but understanding. "You make it look so easy," she once said, shaking her head. "It is when you see it differently," Kelvin replied. "Then teach me how you see it." He smiled faintly. And for the first time in a long time, Kelvin began to look forward to something that wasn't numbers. They talked more, laughed sometimes, shared small moments that felt bigger than they should. And somewhere along the line, Kelvin began to feel something unfamiliar. One evening, they sat quietly outside the classroom, the sky dimming into soft shades of orange. "You don't talk much," Kate said. Kelvin shrugged. "Talking isn't always necessary." She tilted her head, studying him. "But feelings are." He didn't respond, but he didn't forget. The moment that changed everything came unexpectedly. The class was lively that afternoon. Students were discussing their futures, each one eager to declare who they would become. "Doctor, engineer, pilot." Laughter filled the room. Then it got to Kelvin. All eyes turned to him. He stood up slowly. "I want to become a Reverend Father." Silence. For a second, it felt like the world had paused. Then, laughter exploded across the room. "Are you serious?" "So you won't marry." "No life for you." The words came from all directions. Kelvin stood still, his expression unreadable. Then Kate spoke, and her voice cut deeper than the rest. "Kelvin, Do you even understand what that means? She asked, her tone no longer playful. No family, no love, no normal life. The laughter faded slightly, replaced by tension. Kelvin looked at her. Something inside him cracked, not visibly, but deeply. Later that evening, he sat alone behind the school building, staring into nothing. Kate approached him slowly. Why would you choose that kind of life? She asked, softer now. Kelvin didn't look at her. It's not about choosing a life, he said quietly. It's about answering a call. And what about love? She pressed. That word again. Love. Kelvin finally turned to face her. His voice was calm, but strained. Then, they shouldn't. Kate's eyes widened slightly. That's not how feelings work, she said. And this isn't how calling works, Kelvin replied. Silence fell between them, heavy, unresolved. That night, Kelvin lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. For the first time in years, he didn't reach for his notebook. Numbers couldn't help him now. Instead, he closed his eyes and saw her. Confusion settled in. For the first time, Kelvin didn't know the answer. Well, let's find out what happened next.